So this is going to be my impressions video. We're going to be using Antonio Tarver. He's pretty well rounded. Got straight shooter, stinging like a bee. Let's get right into it. For the most part, like I don't really care about the DLC or anything else they're really adding besides the gameplay fixes. So the real question is, are punches landing? The punch accuracy, has that been fixed? Has it been resolved? For the most part, so far my experience, it's like feels like night and day difference. Because you'll see in this fight, I'm landing a lot of punches with someone who has pretty like mid stats compared to some of the people or boxers that we use. Like imagine using like an Usyk. If I'm able to land like this, imagine using an Usyk, very high accuracy, or a Canelo. And I was using, Sugar Ray and some of the other fighters I usually use for the most part, and not really missing too often, getting a lot of counter shots, a lot of flash drops. But the only thing is, sometimes when people are just moving backwards, of course you're gonna miss your punches. That's just because how the game is. You move extremely fast moving backwards, unfortunately, to the point where the forward movement is like nowhere near the same, not even close. Like it's really unbalanced. So if someone's moving backwards, it's gonna be a lot harder to land on them. Like if they're just trying to pretty much outside box the entire fight. I mean, there is ways to beat them, but it does get very boring. But I definitely feel a major difference, especially in the body shots. I'm pretty sure you guys face people who just stand in the middle of the ring and just, throw some combos or power shots, and, they just spam the pull. And then it makes your body shots or body hooks, whatever body punches you're throwing, just go into thin air. That's like not happening as often. I was even using Sugar Ray and using, pivoting body hooks and everything. Landed at a very high clip. I just got to get the pace down for Undisputed. I haven't been too consistent with playing it. I would love to play it some more, but if the punch accuracy continues to feel consistent throughout the next week or so, I'm definitely going to be trying to practice and get a lot better, But we're using somebody with like a lower overall, not really cracked stats. It's definitely above average. Most of the stuff like, the jabs, stamina, the health was more in the like 80s to mid 80s, so we're still pretty solid. It's not like a shitty boxer at all. Fits my style too. He has straight shooter and good counter punching, really good counter punching. Believe it's like an 89, plus he has sting like a bee as well, so definitely a fun, free boxer. But we're just taking our time for the most part, using these small shots. But I'm really hoping, and they fixes, desync, of course. These counter windows are still like a little bit messed up. Not sure exactly what is causing that. That could be desync. But sometimes, these people get counters on me, and sometimes I'm not even throwing a punch, or, sometimes I even land the punch on them, and then they get a counter shot. So if you guys were expecting that to be addressed, that wasn't. But for the most part, that was the main thing I really cared about, was punches landing. This is a boxing game at the end of the day, and if we're not able to land punches that we're supposed to land, or land counters that we're supposed to, like what's the point of playing, and what's the point of even getting any DLC? Because I wanted to get the Mexican Monster Pack, for example, but punch accuracy was so messed up. It was like, why buy DLC? Buying worse rated boxers that are probably gonna miss more than a Sugar Ray or Bud Crawford. It just didn't make any sense to me. But if it feels consistent for the next few days, definitely check out the Mexican Monster Pack. Definitely try it out, because I definitely wanted to use David Benavidez. I'm a fan of his style, and he fits the way like I would play the game, especially for middleweight. I don't really have many picks there. And they also got, I think it's 87 Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard, the current one we do have, is not really great. The health stats aren't great. I think movement's a little bit slower. But, the prime one is definitely way better. And it will give me more motivation to use that weight class. That's a weight class I don't even use. I'm not really a great Roy Jones player. Like, I'll try using him and get better with him for sure. But, not really great with the Philly shell. That's something I could definitely work on. But yeah, that's pretty much the main fixes that was in the patch for the most part. They also patched Southpaw. Like, power spamming in southpaw is a lot faster compared to orthodox. I would say that's definitely gone. Now it feels about normal. It feels balanced, I say. You know, so Sergio Martinez is not going to be a demon no more. There was a little glitch going on. I'm not sure what's good with it, but my quick match record's not showing up. So when I'm in quick match, it just shows 1-0. It just shows my rank record. Like, because I remember I played one ranked match by accident. I won and just never played again. So I'm not sure if you guys are experiencing that, but besides that, I've been experiencing really great hit detection so far. You know, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is more going to be my impression, and probably like towards the end of the week, maybe like the weekend. You know, if you see me using a DLC pack and coming out with the full review, you'll see. So hopefully I do. You know, I really want to love this game and put some more time into it. So, you know, if you guys do see that, that's definitely a great sign that the game is a lot better. Is it perfect? No, but this is a great stepping stone. So now they don't have to put all these resources into hit detection and punch accuracy as much. You know, they can refine it and make it, you know, slightly better as time goes on. Look at that beautiful counter right there. Yeah, but I'm trying to get used to all these mechanics as well. But I hope you guys are experiencing, you know, great hit detection as well, because, you know, at the end of the day, we all put in, you know, around what, $60 to $90. A lot of us put in 90. You know, a lot of people were hype. They sold 1 million week one. Pretty sure a lot of people got that, you know, that deluxe edition. So $90, $95. That's a big investment, you know. I'm still trying to keep my same pace. Yeah, my pace was too high in this match, you know, so I gotta try to get used to a regular boxing pace, because I am a little bit used to UFC 5, where like even if you're landing a lot, even if you have like, let's say, a low cardio stat, if you land a lot of punches at a very high clip, you just don't lose stamina. I'm kind of used to that, so I gotta remember, even though I'm landing a lot, it doesn't mean I get to have this infinite volume. I'm a fan of that. I really like that, because that makes the cardio stat a real weapon, which UFC 5 does not let you do. Like, you would think Max Holloway would be like fun to use because of that cardio advantage, but you know, you can have a Connor doing the same pace. That's just not fun or realistic. So Undisputed does that very well. Something also I hope they address is the lunging forward body jab. I mean, I use it from like time to time, but I do that with UFC 5. I use it in UFC 5 to, you know, set up my combos. And now people can catch and shoot the jab. So like, if I just throw jabs upstairs, they're constantly going to catch and shoot and counter. So you have to switch it up. And unfortunately, that's the only great moving forward strike. It just happens to be very overpowered. But, you know, there's some people. I faced somebody who was just basically doing step backs the entire fight. And what they would do is they would get next to you. They would throw a punch, like a jab or whatever, step back, try to get you to throw. And then they'll slide back in with that body jab from like a ridiculous like length. You know, they'll be probably like what, maybe like 4 to 6 feet away from me, and they'll slide forward with that body jab. I'm just like, bro, you know, and it puts you in a spot where, since you can't pressure people too effectively, it would just give him more counters. You would have to basically catch and shoot, counter him, and not really throw much, and it makes the game very boring. It sucks that people could still make the game like very boring in that type of way. You know, people could do it in UFC 5, but just not as much. I mean, like, even people that don't know how to play the game could make the game feel really annoying. But for the most part, I had better experiences than not. So I'm definitely very happy with the update, because I was hoping that they were going to focus on, you know, punch accuracy and, you know, whatever bug they want to call it. I'm not sure exactly what was causing these punches to whiff so much. I'm just glad it's not happening as often, because imagine, I think Tarver has maybe like an 80 accuracy or like an 82. I'm not sure. You guys seen the stats in the intro. So like, if I'm landing at a great clip like this, that just goes to show you how much better it is, because you can only imagine how it's going to be with like a 95 accuracy Canelo. Ooh, nasty counter right there. But yeah, he feels clean though. great jab cross, very accurate, and also some counter punching. So definitely a fun pick to switch it up. Look, that we got him gassed right here. Not gonna lie, when I got opponents gassed, like, you know, of course I could take my time with it, but you know, if I know it's gonna be a YouTube video, I'm definitely gonna try to get the finish, even if it gets me knocked out. You know, I don't mind. You know, it's whatever. For the most part, I'm trying to get these finishes, these flash KOs, these flash knockdowns. So, you know, I'm not gonna run around in a circle up on points. You know, I don't even do that when I'm not uploading a YouTube video. So, you know, we're not gonna start doing that now. Nice counter jab right there. But yeah, the more I play, the more I'm gonna get used to the pace of the game. So I'm just glad that southpaw bug is fixed. The quick glitch, now that one I don't know. I mean, somebody quit against me, but like I said, since the record is glitched and it's not showing my quick match record, I can't really confirm if I got that win or not. A different animation played out, and it went right to like me winning a lot faster. So I mean, that's the only thing I noticed, but I'm not sure. I can't really confirm that. So, you know, you guys let me know in the comments down below. I wanted to get this one out pretty quick. I played a couple matches, tested it out, felt really nice, and then I was like, you know what, let me use one of the free boxers that we did get for this update. The other one is going to be Billy Dib. Not sure what weight class that is, but you know, if you guys do enjoy the showcase, I will definitely do a showcase on him if you guys want me to. Look at that, we rock him right here. I was getting some beautiful flash drops though. It's really fun when the punches are landing. And the changes that they made to, you know, the flash KO system, they show a lot more now. Since all these smaller punches that we used to miss land now, people do get dropped, rocked, and knocked out a lot more often. So, you know, definitely be careful. You know, because we're used to just kind of getting away with things. You know, I am too. So, you know, I was getting tagged up a little more than usual, but I adjusted relatively fine. I usually try to play as safe as I can, and I try to play it like real boxing as best as I can. You know, I'm still learning a lot of the mechanics of the game just like you. So this is the first time I had like very consistent fun for a very long time, so definitely loving it. Damn, we're already at like 45% stamina, bro. Damn. Not looking too good, but it's 7th round already. We're up, so we should be just fine. Try to counter right there. See, sometimes punches like that can miss because like walking backwards is just like it's way too fast because, you know, he's gassed, he's flat-footed, and he's still able to walk backwards fast enough to make me miss a punch and to get out of boxing range, you know, or to get out of the pocket at the very least, which is just very unfair. It goes to show you how much faster you are moving backwards compared to moving forwards, which is unfortunate because it kind of just takes away the ability to pressure fight effectively. You know, it just depends on your opponent. You know, you get some opponents that will open up and pocket box with you a little bit more than others, but there's some that just won't engage. Another great thing about the update is accuracy on the judges' scorecards are now scored like more properly. So the great part about that is if you're landing your jabs and landing small, you know, combinations like small 2 pieces, and you're landing at like 70%, and you're getting, you know, let's say body jab spammed, or, you know, someone's just throwing a lot of power shots and maybe getting some white flashes. Now accuracy actually means a decent amount. So I noticed myself winning on the cards a lot easier now because if you notice how I play, I do a lot of body straights, body jabs, you know, head jabs, crosses, while people look for those rounded strikes like those body hooks, uppercuts, etc. So since they're looking for those most of the time, they're not going to land as effectively as me because I'm throwing 10 jabs and, you know, a blend of some hooks while they're throwing, let's say, just 15, 20 hooks and missing half of them. So, you know, as long as you could be more accurate than your opponent, you could still win, even if they're being very annoying in how they play. So I definitely love that. That's a W for me. But we're trying to take his head off though, so So we're going to be throwing pretty much a lot of power. Oh my God. Look at that. Flash drop right there. I love getting flash drops, man. It just makes the game so much more enjoyable and unpredictable. And I like when, you know, your opponent makes enough mistakes to the point where they're just in danger and there's nothing they could do about it, you know. My punches aren't going to miss as often, and with the flash KO system working the way it does now, you're just not going to be able to survive. That's one thing I do love about that change that they did make, I think like a month back. We're still going to try to knock him out. I don't care. You know, even though it's round 8 and I'm beyond up on the cards, I really don't care. So we're still going to do our thing. We're going to move forward, throw our power, try to get something special. Try to get a counter opportunity as best as I can. Look at that nice counter right there. Do love his straight animation too. Beautiful. Comes out really quick, very accurate. That straight shooter definitely helps. See what we're going to do. Counters us right here. See, that still happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen to me too often. Like, it's not as often as it used to be. So if that happens once in a while, I could let that go. But, you know, it was just happening way too often before this update. But I gotta test it more. Like I said, I only played about like a couple matches. So we're gonna test it more. I'm probably gonna have a full review. Bang! Look at that shit. Oh my God. Beautiful fucking drop right there. Timed a nice uppercut as he was throwing. Knocked him down. But yeah, full review is going to come up probably like in the weekend at some point. Or just later in the week in general. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And he was able to get up. But we got the dub.